Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's presentation, The Crucial Role of Genetics, Psychology, and Environmental Factors in Understanding and Combating Obesity. My name is Stacey Pothier, and my area of concentration is Professional Studies Nutrition Leadership. I want to briefly share why I chose a project on obesity. I was overweight and obese for a total of 30 years. After that long struggle of trying and not succeeding, or succeeding only to regain the weight, I lost the excess weight I was carrying from between the time 2012 to 2014, and I've kept it off for over a decade. Only 20% of people who lose weight will keep it off permanently. My victory came through understanding that obesity and being overweight is a much deeper issue than overeating and not exercising. Environmental, individual, and psychological issues were all contributing factors. I'm completing my MPS in nutrition leadership because I have a mission to help others get free from the guilt, shame, and torment of being overweight and diagnosed obese and/or. Today, we will explore environmental factors that contribute to obesity and provide a 7-week online training product to educate, inform, and unify healthcare professionals, including medical doctors, dietitians, and mental health experts, on the environmental and individual factors contributing to obesity. This project aims to increase awareness and understanding of these factors. Healthcare professionals will be equipped to make informed decisions with empathy and a comprehensive approach to obesity prevention and care. There are many factors contributing to obesity. This study examines how environmental factors, including endocrine disrupting chemicals and specifically obesogens, are affecting individual factors. That includes genetic expression, metabolism, the endocrine system, specifically hormone messengers like ghrelin and leptin, which regulate hunger and satiety, and thyroid functions, and the gut microbiome. All of these changes can contribute to obesity. Obesogens and EDCs are found in plastics, food packaging, also in pesticides and herbicides, personal care products, and industrial chemicals. This study showed statistically significant associations between urinary bisphenol A, BPA, levels and BMI, body mass index. These environmental factors can have physiological effects that contribute to obesity as far-reaching as preconception. Yet genetics alone does not explain the obesity rate of increase. Conquering a global health epidemic will require a local and international effort. A comprehensive understanding of all known contributing factors and ongoing research is imperative to identify interventions that yield long-term and lasting results. Nutrition education for all branches of healthcare professionals in a unified setting can help bridge the gaps between medicine, nutrition, and mental health. We can do more together. This training program will be instrumental in building that bridge and improving global health. Studies by Pineda et al., Calero Medina et al. 2024 and 2023 respectively, and Galvez Ontiveros et al. 2020 all agree and report on how obesogens and EDCs affect the human body and contribute to obesity and poor health. Overall, in the three studies, environmental factors, including EDCs, were found to be a promising culprit in obesity as they all affect appetite, satiety, metabolism, and fat storage. However, further studies are needed to understand the workings of obesogens and their effects on the human body. It was also found that endocrine disrupting chemicals can interfere with hormonal actions and have been associated with a higher incidence of metabolic disorders, as well as affecting numerous physiological, biochemical, and endocrinal activities, all of which are individual factors, including reproduction, metabolism, immunity, and behavior. A study by Calero Medina et al. 2023 explained the association of EDCs in food and how they affected gut microbiota and contributed to metabolic disorders. He also found that bacteria in the gut changed the chemical composition of EDCs and can help protect the body against the damage of EDCs. EDCs harm the gut microbiota, and these changes are linked to diabetes because insulin synthesis and beta cell release are affected by these EDCs. Metabolic um, leading to metabolic syndrome and obesity, as well as mental health and reproduction, affecting, mental health and reproduction. Jackson et al. 2020 reported that environmental changes drive obesity. Jackson's review cited evidence that genes affect body weight. Results for genetic variance and obesity showed that genetic factors alone do not account for increase in obesity. Obesity, environmental factors and their changes contribute to changes in metabolic processes, contributing to obesity. Hendel 2014 conducted that obesogens can disrupt normal metabolic processes, contributing to obesity. Doe et al. 2017 found that the impact of obesogens on obesity rates is significant and that BPA levels in urine are significantly associated with BMI. Body mass index. It was concluded that urinary BPA, which is an obesogen, was positively associated with general obesity, continuous BMI, and waist circumference. Esquiza and Bloomberg also discussed genetic expression and its relation to obesity and how to reduce the intake of exposure to harmful environmental chemicals, listing the many types and sources of obesogens, which you'll see in later slides. This shows the far-reaching impacts of obesogens and how to reduce the intake and exposure of these chemicals. It shows how obesogens interfere with hormones and other signaling pathways, including GPL1 and estrogen. Here in Figure 1, we see that individuals with genes more responsive to food cues or less sensitive to satiety signaling hormones are more likely to overeat due to an obesogenic food environment. Jackson et al. 2020 results for generic variants in obesity showed that genetic factors alone do not account for increases in obesity, and environmental obesity and changes contribute to changes in metabolic processes. Doe et al. 2017 found that the impact of obesogens on obesity rates is significant. BPA levels in urine are significantly associated with BMI, as shown in Table 1. Doe et al. Concluded that urinary BPA was positively associated with general obesity, continuous BMI, and waist circumference. Here we see results from more variables, including household income, smoking status, physical activity, and diet quality, to name a few. On the right, you see p-values, and under BMI, you will see a p-value of 0.088, which is above 0.05. So I would read that as not significant. However, the test is comparing across all BMI categories and determining the mean. Here, Eguquiza and Bloomberg discuss genetic expression and its relation to obesity and how to reduce the intake or exposure to harmful environmental chemicals, listing the many types and sources of obesogens. This illustration shows the pathways obesogens travel through impacting the body. You can see how chemicals affect hormones and metabolism and change how fat is distributed. So it's a little small to see here, but here's obesogens, and then these are epigenetic modifications, making changes to genes. And you've got chromatin, there's a change in the architecture of chromatin. Here you've got a change in the microbiome composition, and let's see, altered metabolism. And this one's a little over my head, but that has to do with the genes and alterations to genes. This one may be a little tough to see. In Figure A through G, study by Hue et al. 2024, you can see significant differences found in the microbiome of obese versus non-obese, which was the control group. Certain bacteria were more familiar to one group than the other. Compositions of gut bacteria in obese and healthy weight individuals are compared. A greater understanding of the gut microbiome can help develop more effective interventions for obesity treatment. Strang and Grant 2023 summarized genes and factors involved in hormone leptin the hormone leptin signaling related to satiety. Leptin is a hormone messenger that helps us know when we're full. When this process is disrupted, it can lead to not getting the message that we are full after eating. So here you've got the little pancreas, satiety signal, and when leptin is what makes us feel full. It's a hormone signaling hormone that makes us feel full, and ghrelin is what makes us feel hungry. So I always think of ghrelin when I'm hungry. So those can get out of balance, and obesogens have an effect on that. Change that hormone structure. Figure 2 outlines 4 mechanisms showing how loci can contribute to obesity etiology. I wasn't sure what loci was. Loci is where genetic markers are located on the gene. Here we see changes in the development of white and beige adipocytes, also known as white and brown fat cells. White fat cells store energy basically, and brown and beige, sometimes they're called beige fat cells, generate heat in the body. This is done through a process known as thermogenesis. Here we also see changes in the hypothalamus, which is where appetite control, metabolic rate, hormonal regulation, specifically leptin and ghrelin in obesity, and all kinds of different behaviors. So I had a brain injury, and my hypothalamus got knocked and changed all kinds of stuff. So it's super important and affects obesity. Figure 3 shows how genes are affected by environmental factors through epigenetic mechanisms. Epigenetics just means how our genes, it's the expression, how our genes express themselves. Genes are color-coded by a mechanism. The genes within each section are specific to each factor, and genes placed in the middle space are common between at least 2. So this is way over my head, but all of these are the genes that have to do. So all of these genes can be affected by sleep deprivation, physical activity affects these, dietary category. So all these are different genes, and how they can all contribute to obesity. Zhang et al. 2019 found an association between exposure to phenols, pesticides, phthalates, I never say that right, and obesity, BMI, and waist circumference. Note that weight here is not that's referring to weightiness, the weightiness of the impact, not actual weight. Results showed like physical body weight. Results showed that chemicals MCOP, you'll see right here. I don't know if you can see my pointer. BPA and BPS were significantly associated with obesity and abdominal obesity. Here were the major findings. EDCs and obesogens affect the metabolic process, precisely their effect on hunger and satiety hormones, ghrelin and leptin, respectively. The impact, that was Jackson 2020, the impact of BPA and obesogens on BMI, there was higher urinary BPA levels were significant for BMI and waist circumference. That was Doe et al. 2017. The effectiveness of therapies like mindfulness and acceptance and the links between mental health and obesity. That was Continen 2020. Higher BMIs were linked to shame, self-hatred, and other feelings that trigger emotional eating, leading to depression and increased weight gain. The gut microbiome, how exposure to EDCs can lead to changes in metabolic mechanisms, and how gut bacteria populations are different in obese and non-obese people. More research is needed to target which chemicals and amounts of exposure specifically affect which mechanisms within the body are affected. More studies to identify biomarkers for obesity and the epigenetic impact and obesity risk. Additionally, the effects of environmental factors need to be further studied. And because epigenetics, the expression of genes, is modifiable, it is challenging to study. Yet because it is modifiable, it brings hope for obesity prevention and treatment. Comprehensive strategies and interventions can be developed and implemented, starting with local public health and education and ending with improved global outcomes. Different populations can be studied, potentially resulting in more targeted interventions and collaboration with multiple branches of knowledge. This can provide more widespread knowledge and understanding among healthcare professionals about these factors and how they impact obesity. I will say MTSU surpassed my undergraduate experience, and my undergrad was a great experience, but amazing education, totally amazing. It was great. So, research methods. Am I saying that right? Yes, research methods with Dr. Nelson was among the best and most challenging learning experiences. He is so passionate about research, and that is very contagious. I looked forward to doing research and better. I definitely learned more about the research process. Dr. Nelson taught research methods so effectively, he made it understandable and not nearly as overwhelming as it had been for me at the start of the course. He is highly detail oriented and expects our best efforts, which helped me continually push through barriers of fear and unknown and just really a lack of not enough research methodology understanding coming into the course. So very, very great. Great teacher. Awesome, awesome. Yay, Dr. Nelson or Dr. N. The course was definitely challenging throughout, and I learned to value and respect the research processes and the ethical considerations of research. Dr. Nelson was the best. PRST 6000 with Dr. Boyle. Dr. Boyle was hysterical and he had the best stories. They challenged my critical thinking skills and took them to another level. He presented real life dilemmas that we would have to address and solve. Absolutely exhausted my brain, but I loved it. And the situations were so real and so similar to those that I will be facing and have faced in my career, but will be facing in my new career in managing others. And I paralleled organizational transformation in a business sense. That was a great course, but I really paralleled it to because I'm going in to be an RDN, registered dietitian nutritionist. So I thought of it as organization, not just transforming a business organization, but your body is an organism. And so, really, transformation in the body is what I will be doing and how to motivate change, just like you would in a corporation. So recognizing that resistance to change, the stages of change readiness, and being able to navigate and motivate change, and all the different situations in which we could do that. Invaluable. Um, Dr. Foot was great, and I had excellent. The content was excellent. Learned so much about management, leadership, and motivating others. I will absolutely use what I learned in my career with encouraging my clients and um, just how to bring about change and the steps we learned and learning what it takes to be a good leader, and that is far beyond charisma. And there's different leadership styles, and being able to recognize my leadership style, which I knew it was um, servant leadership very much, but I also learned that I have kind of a democratic style and want to get impact and different feedback. But it really depends on the situation, which management style you use. So again, very invaluable, and I will definitely use it. NSF 6300 entrepreneurial skills was great. It equipped me for the business side of my business as opposed to the consulting side. The business proposal assignment helped me create a more detailed marketing and financial plan and better understand budgeting. Things I love marketing, but budgeting something is not my favorite. So it really helped me with looking at all that financial stuff. Doing a market analysis helped me to better understand the market and my competition. And everything I learned in this course was immediately applicable to my little small business I have now and will be invaluable in my future. The professional environment course applied to my current business, although much of the course was very familiar to things I've learned and used over my years in the business sector. It was a great course that refreshed my knowledge of ethics and different ethical situations. I learned a lot about, I learned more about ethics and was able to identify my core ethics, which was interesting. My nutrition obesity course. This is the course. This course is why I chose Obesogens, environmental factors for my project topic. Great material, great curriculum. Learned about more about obesogens and their effects on obesity in that course, and wanted to know more about it. My professor was highly seasoned at her knowledge base was strong. She was a kind and great teacher. She made herself available, like all my teachers did, very, very well. Yeah, learned a lot about obesity, and it's already my passion, so it was an excellent course. Learned a lot. Um, I'm missing people, but yeah, all my stuff's up in my put away in boxes right now. But finally, Dr. McDaniel, he was fabulous. He shares a high level of passion for the subject, and just like Dr. Nelson, they teach really. They clearly care about their students. Both went above and beyond to educate and make complex situations and subjects relatable and straightforward. They both provide video teaching, which I'm a visual learner and very in-person learner, but I'm in California, so I did this online. And that is extremely helpful. His videos were amazing. I'm um, uh, he helped me navigate statistics, which was a challenging course for me. And he communicates to the point that there is no way not to understand him, which is such a key to excellent communication. So with a subject like statistics, that was so important. Very good educator. And I'll say with statistics, it's so important to my future because having an evidence-based nutrition practice, I'm always doing research, and so I have I am so much better at recognizing and actually being able to read the entire study and all the results and know what it's saying and understand the p-values and under I absolutely understand research when I read a research paper now, for the most part, some are still way over my head, but I feel very confident in navigating what's statistically significant and to what degree and how to use StatCrunch and kind of navigate that better. And next we have Professor Morris, who I think you all know her. She was kind, very calming. I kept having like, I have nervous issues and when I don't know if I'm doing things right. So she was always very encouraging. And helped us work very independently, which was kind of scary for me at first, but it gave me greater confidence in my research writing and organizational skills. I still have a long way to go. Her feedback was constructive and invaluable, and I learned how to be a more organized writer. Again, long way to go. The way she broke down and assigned our projects piece by piece made it so less daunting and overwhelming. So by the end, I actually, was over 7,000 words, which seemed very daunting in the beginning, but it wasn't that painful. Well, it was a little painful. Overall experience at MTSU was incredible. As I said, I have already praised MTSU and I will do so for the rest of my life. If I didn't live so far away, I would teach there or get my doctorate and teach there one day. And I hope you all had such an excellent experience. It was great. As my career goes goal, I do plan to stay at my current job. I'm running a small business. I want to work more in corporate nutrition. I do a little bit of that. Educating business professionals on health and its effects on productivity. I will likely need to supplement my income starting as an RDN, so I will be looking for work that provides a steady income and benefits. I am open and will knock and see what doors open to me. I'm looking to advance my small business, and I have a few RDNs for my undergraduate classes who want to be subcontractors. So, what I learned in my leadership and organizational course will help me in this endeavor. I also plan to start a ministry for teen girls who struggle with weight management, body image, and knowing their self worth. Been quite long, and I wanted to touch on the training um, project. So I'll try to be quick about it. It's pretty long. The 7 module training project It addresses environmental, individual, and psychological factors contributing to obesity. The different modules include defining obesity, environmental factors in obesity, individual factors in obesity, gut microbiome and digestive health, mindful eating, psychological factors contributing to obesity, and lastly, resources, discussion, and feedback. According to the World Health Organization, obesity is defined as having a body mass index of 30 or higher. 1 out of 8 people in the world are living with obesity. Nearly 75% of the United States is overweight, including obesity. 95% of all dieters will regain their lost weight in 1 to 5 years. Only 20% will keep it off permanently, and 45% of American women are on a diet any given day. Here's how you calculate the formula to calculate BMI. However, you can go online and find calculators and plug in weight and height and age, and it will calculate your BMI for you. Here are the categories, so you can see those for yourself. So what is considered anything over 30 BMI is considered obese. And then there's different classes of obesity. Here's an overall map, obesity map of the United States, showing that in nearly every state, over 30% of the population is obese. This training will be on 3 contributing factors that we will focus on. That is environmental factors, EDCs and obesogens. Second is individual factors, including genetics, metabolism, gut microbiome, and hormones. And the third is psychological factors, including emotional eating and mindless eating. Environmental factors include endocrine disrupting hormones, EDCs, and obesogens. Obesogens are a type of EDC. EDCs and obesogens are chemicals that disrupt metabolism and hormone functions. Obesogens are found in items like food containers and personal care products. They increase fat cells, alter fat storage, and affect appetite regulation. Here are a few types of EDCs. They include BPA, which is used to make plastic and line food and beverage cans, food containers and beverage cans. Phthalates, man-made chemicals, are used to make plastic, and these chemicals are in some brands of mac and cheese even, and other packaged foods. Atrazine is widely used herbicide, which can be partially avoided by choosing organic fruits and vegetables. Organotins are compounds used in paints and pesticides. They're also used in industrial compounds and PFOAs. A surfactant is used in nonstick cookware. Here are a few ways to avoid obesogens. Avoid plastics, avoid cooking in plastics, avoid pesticides by eating organic food, and foods with lots of food additives. I always say if there's more than 4 ingredients on the label, maybe don't eat it. So if you find it in nature, eat it. Aim to filter drinking water and use stainless water bottles and natural household products. Eliminate plastics and avoid or limit high processed foods and packaged foods. Individual factors include genetics, metabolism, the gut microbiome, and hormones. Obesogens and EDCs alter genetic expression and change gut bacteria, increasing fat storage, disrupting metabolic processes. They affect signaling hormones that regulate hunger and satiety, leading to increased hunger and less satiety and more fat storage. Other individual factors affected by environmental factors are genes and the microbiome. A study by DiRenzo 2019 looks at bioactive components and the connection between micronutrients and gene expression, recognizing that Hippocrates knew what he knew in the 4th century, that food is in fact medicine. These bioactive compounds in food interact with gut microbia and potentially delay chronic disease. With the help of new technology, genomics, and epigenetics, nanotechnologies, we can understand interactions between cells and our food. The impact of food on gene expression confirms the old saying that we are literally what we eat. Dietary choices impact microbial diversity and genetic expression. Even minor imbalances in gut bacteria may contribute to obesity. Gut bacteria, the microbiome, influence metabolism and weight regulation, and they are affected by obesogens. Valero Medina et al. 2023 explained the association of EDCs in food and how they affect gut microbiota and contribute to metabolic disorders. Also, bacteria in the gut change the chemical composition of EDCs and can help protect the body against the damage they can cause. We have an estimated 30 trillion cells, but we have even more bacteria. We have 39 trillion microbial cells. So humans are basically a walking bag of bacteria. Um, most microbial cells are good. When you hear bacteria, it sounds awful, but really only a very small percentage of the bacteria in our body are pathogenic, or the bacteria on the planet are pathogenic. Eating diverse foods can impact gut microbiome because different foods have different types of bacteria. The microbiome is home to trillions of microorganisms, including bacteria, viruses, and fungi. Vegetables, resistant starch, fermented foods, and probiotics all improve the gut microbiome, and it is good to avoid sugar and processed foods because those are harmful to our good bacteria as well. Trillions of microorganisms in the gut, including bacteria, viruses, and fungi. Microbiota aids in digestion, nutrient absorption, and immune functions. Plant-based foods promote a healthy gut. Fermented foods like yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut all contain probiotics. Probiotics and prebiotics are non-digestible fibers that feed, prebiotics are non-digestible fibers that feed beneficial gut bacteria. And lifestyle factors such as stress, sleep, and exercise all play a role in gut health. EDCs adversely affect the gut microbiota, and these changes are linked to diabetes because insulin synthesis and release beta cell release is affected by EDCs, as well as by metabolic syndrome and obesity, mental health, and reproduction. A study by Hu et al. In 2024 confirmed that gut microbiomes may affect obesity. Many factors alter gut microbiota, such changes have been linked to metabolic disease, obesity, diabetes, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NAFLD, cardiovascular disease, and more. Obesogens also interfere with hormones and other signaling pathways, including GLP-1 and estrogen. Let's see what else. Obesogens and EDCs affect the endocrine system, specifically hormone messengers like ghrelin. I know I keep repeating myself, and leptin, which signals fullness, and also thyroid functions. Continent 2020 concludes that those who emotionally eat might benefit from mindfulness and acceptance. So this is how I lost my 60 pounds. But I learned mindful eating and just being compassionate, not just to clients, but to yourself and having empathy, but honoring your food, eating without distractions, engaging all of your senses. And of course, I'll go into more detail doing a real training program. Serving healthy portions, savoring small bites, chewing thoroughly, eating slowly to avoid overeating, get those time for those messengers to get to your head to tell you you're full. Don't skip meals, consider yourself, and there's one behind my face here. Consider your surroundings. So where you're eating, who you're eating with, all that stuff plays a part in how mindful we are with our food. Is mindful eating evidence-based? It is. It aids in weight loss. It has been shown to improve digestion, improves the ability to recognize hunger and satiety signals, reduces stress eating, helps with reduction of cortisol, which is a stress hormone that can interfere with that leptin communication. And what else does it do? Something else behind my face. Sorry, I didn't write notes on this one. Practical applications. So taking deep breaths and calming, getting yourself from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic nervous system so your body's ready to digest. Eat slowly, listening to hunger and satiety cues. Your body actually tells you if we slow down and listen. Be thankful. Consider where food came from. Don't have a dieting mentality, but that all things are allowable, just not all things are going to be beneficial. Focus on the present moment, engage the senses, move forward with peace. If you don't make the best optimal decision, let it go and move forward. Nothing we can do about the past, except one's feelings, thoughts, and what the body is communicating. Be mindful of guilt and any other emotions and have a non-judgmental attitude. The empathy quotient EQ is used to measure empathy levels. So in my training, I will have people take this test to help them kind of see where they're at as far as their level of empathy. On the physiological aspects of obesity, the study addresses the psychological factors that play a role in obesity, including trauma, fear, anxiety, emotions. Can be loneliness, anger, boredom is a big one, shame, and guilt. They can all trigger emotional eating and result from not meeting, or the guilt from, we have self-imposed expectations or goals that we want to meet. Duarte et al. 2017 investigated the effects of psychological factors, including shame and self-criticism on weight gain. An online survey self-evaluated process was used to track weight-related effects and depressive symptoms due to these psychological factors. The study concluded that higher BMIs were associated with increased shame, self-hatred, and feelings of inferiority. Weight loss was associated with favorable social comparisons. Weight-related negativity increased the desire to eat and the symptoms of depression. The study also showed conclusive evidence that women experience psychological effects of weight gain, regaining weight, and being overweight or obese more than men. The study was significant because it connected to bacteria and obesogen studies, with all concluding that the microbiome is adversely affected by EDCs, and a poor microbiome affects mental health. Shame, like mental health, is a psychological issue. Psychological factors, including emotions, play a role in obesity. Guilt and shame can lead to emotional eating, and emotional eating can result in the feeling of guilt and shame. It is a vicious cycle that contributes to obesity. Van Strien 2018 referenced two studies with 279 adolescents focusing on emotional eating and genetics and how inadequate parenting interacted with dopamine receptor genes and emotional eating. Those with the A1 allele of the DRD2 gene and controlling parents had controlling parents had increased emotional eating. The second study had two groups with 286 younger siblings, age 13, and 298 older siblings, age 15, and focused on interactions between depressive feelings and a serotonin transporter gene 5-HTTO and emotional eating. The study showed that those with the short allele of the gene 50-HTTLPR polymorphism and depressive feelings showed increased emotional eating. Duarte et al. 2017 and Cotton 2020 both found that psychological factors, including negative emotions, lead to higher BMIs as a result of emotional eating triggered by these negative emotions. Overall, this research shows that obesogens and EDCs are significantly contributing to obesity. Sleep deprivation is linked to emotional eating, and a poor diet affects psychological health and has been linked to depression as well. Cotton 2020 studied emotional eating and the role of depression, sleep, and genes on obesity. Emotional eating is eating in response to negative emotions. The food chosen is primarily energy dense. Emotional eating can be used to cope with negative emotions as well. Exploring factors beyond behavioral or personal choice, nutrition educators can identify and teach genetic, bacterial, psychological, and obesogenic factors contributing to obesity. This training product will equip healthcare professionals to educate their patients, increase awareness about the causes of obesity for individuals, and prepare nutrition educators to implement intervention strategies for obesity prevention and reduction. This paper enriches the outlook of solving the obesity epidemic by looking at a comprehensive approach. This includes mental health as well as aiming at obesity prevention and the need for understanding, compassion, and empathy over judgment and shame. The responsibilities of an RDN are many and far exceed helping people with diet and exercise. RDNs are responsible for looking out for vulnerable populations, being educated on evidence-based practices, staying updated with RDN continued education, and advocating for change. Learning about research methods to stay current with the latest findings is vital to my future career as a future registered dietitian. My job will include knowing as much as I can to help individuals live healthy, disease-free lives. By exploring environmental, individual, and psychological factors, we reach beyond diet and exercise to learn and teach about these factors and how they contribute to obesity. This training program was designed to equip you to educate patients and increase awareness about the environmental causes of obesity. We explored a non traditional, comprehensive approach to obesity prevention, choosing understanding, compassion, and empathy over judgment and shame. The responsibility of an RDN and other healthcare professionals far exceed helping people with diet and exercise. Learning about the latest research and staying current with the latest education is vital so we can continue to help individuals live healthy and disease-free lives. Okay, the rest here is resources, so I'll go quick. This is an emotion wheel. It's a tool to help patients identify their emotions. It can help identify and they can pattern their eating behavior and recognize the emotions that correspond with those. Here are things to ask patients before discussing change. Here is a change readiness questionnaire. Here is a reminder to do SMART goals with your patients. Here's a self-assessment on how well you understood all the different categories of this course. And here we have a quick quiz. I won't go through it because we're out of time, but this will be used in my training. And so we've got this quiz, and then we've got a more formal quiz here. And you can actually do this one online. I just put the slides here. So in conclusion, regardless of our pace, each day allows us to live more mindfully, stress less, laugh more, and make healthy choices. This presentation has hopefully equipped you to implement and share what you have learned. I hope this training project helps you bring hope to your clients, you and those you love. Thank you for being here today. Makes me emotional. Anyway, go help others. Thanks.